Right. So chapter number 6, session 2. So in the first session, we discussed briefly about the story, like, how Jagan was a very strange person. He suddenly he was, changed because of the behavior of his son, right? So cousin also found that Jagan was really reluctant to talk with the people, because you know that now in chapter number 5, 4 and all we learn, when Mali went to America, Jagan was boasting to everyone in the village about his son. But once, suddenly, one day, when Mali arrived to India with an unknown person, that is happening in chapter number 6, with an unknown person, he comes to India. So that unknown person was Grace. She was Mali's wife, so-called wife, right? So then the cousin who was really friendly with this Jagan, and he is really a good understanding. So he found that Jagan was hesitating to talk with people. He did not like to face people. The reason was Mali's behavior, right? Because Mali had changed a lot. He was not, he was totally not an Indian who that he went to America. So that certain character is not there to be seen. So cousin is a person who is really supportive to Jagan. He talks to him, he goes and asks his problems, and he is telling Jagan about Mali's future plans. And later cousin somehow built a small relationship, a small conversation between Jagan and Mali, right? So after that, when Grace, we'll go to the Grace character, a new character. So Grace was really a good character. Jagan also liked her character, and she was almost trying to become an Indian daughter-in-law, and she gave the fullest, right? She gave the fullest for that. She called Jagan as father, right? She addressed him as father. And not only that, Grace did all the houseworks, right? She cooked for Jagan, and she tried to build up the conversation between father and son, right? And she told Jagan about Mali's plans and how Mali is going to continue his work and everything, right? And Mali also started talking really good with Jagan about his business plans, right? He started to explain his next step and stuff. All those things Mali did with a plan. Like he wanted Jagan to know them. But Jagan, he could not, listen to him. There is a reason for that. Because for Jagan, Mali was like so much grown. He couldn't believe his eyes that his son is talking like, a very good businessman. And he have never seen Mali talking or walking like that, right? The other thing is, Mali started to share all his thoughts, problems, plans with both wife and the father, right? So now we are going to continue with that point. We are going to start with the page. Actually, here it's 61. I guess in your books it is 62 or 63. Starting from Grace, do you know that our ancestors never even wrote the epics? So, Grace, do you know that our ancestors never even wrote the epics? Right, now Jagan is telling this, right? They never even wrote the epics. Why is he saying this one? Because Mali has bought a new writing machine. He wanted to manufacture a story writing machine because Mali's bigger dream is to become a writer. So he was explaining Jagan about this story writing machine. He was telling that you can type like this, you can add the emotions, you can enter this stuff. Likewise, he was giving a lots of explanation. So now Jagan is saying that, right, but you know that in our time, during our ancestors' period, they never wrote the epics. What did they do? They recited them, they memorized them, and they taught generation to generation. So he is continuing. They composed the epics and recited them, and the great books lived thus from generation to generation by the breath of the people. Now he's explaining to Grace, because Grace is from a different nationality, and he's giving some idea about the Indian culture and tradition. Before he could proceed further, Mali said with a gesture of disgust. You know how Mali talks to his father, right? Little bit, like an American. He have some European habits also. So he was like, with a gesture, he was saying, oh, these are not the days of our ancestors. Today we have to compete with advanced countries, not only in economics and industry, but remember, it is also in culture. So Mali is explaining the reality, because Jagan is a person who is living out of reality. He's still thinking that he's living in the period of Gandhi, because he is such a Gandhian follower. He's a very staunch follower of Gandhi. He's respecting each and every philosophy of him. And he's trying to become a very good Indian. And he's trying to do everything in a herbal and in a very good manner without harming anything. And he's thinking that he's still remaining in that ancestral period. So he wants the people who are around him also to behave like that. But it is not possible. That's Mali. Mali is explaining him. It's not your ancestral period. Today we are living in an advanced country. Not only in economics, not only in industry. Remember, we have to change our culture and traditions also. While on one hand, Jagan felt delighted at the way his son seemed to be blossoming after years of development. He noticed in him now. Now, Jagan, he feels like, wow, my son is grown up. He thinks so immensely. He's talking so fluently, and he's shocked to see that. The boy went on, if you have the time, I would like to explain to you one or two other points. Jagan helplessly glanced at a traveling clock on Mali's table and jingled the keys of his shop in the depth of his jibba pocket. Right. Now, these days, Jagan is not working on time. Reason, after Mali come from America, he had to spend, Jagan had to spend a little more time with this Grace and Mali. Especially with Grace, Jagan spent some morning hours. Reason, he started to talk with her. He started to explain about their culture and tradition. He started to ask questions about Grace identity. Likewise, a lot of conversation was going on. And because of that, he was unable to go to the shop on time. He delayed his reading the Bhagavad Gita, and all those stuffs were going in a very unmanageable way. So when Mali told that, if you have time, I can explain you further. So then only Jagan remembered, no, my time is running, I have to go to the shop. And he quickly took the keys and he went to the shop. Ultimately, you may have to give up your sweet making and work in our business. I'll give you a nice air-conditioned room with a couple of secretaries. So see, Mali is telling, I think now you have to stop working in that sweet making shop. You have to join with our business, right? You have to get fixed with the modern world. Son is telling to the father. And he's also saying, if you join our business, you can stay in an air-conditioned room. So air-conditioned room, AC room, is something very big in those days. And he's saying, not only that, I'll give you a couple of secretaries also. Jagan had never known his son talk so fluently. He wished secretly that he would speak differently. Right now, Jagan never knew that, wow, my son speaks so fluently. And he never knew that Mali is a person who really talks like that. Right? He felt the time had come for him to ask this question. Now, you have to remember one point. Jagan is a person who is having 100,000 questions in his mind to ask Mali. But he never talked. That is the main problem between this poor father and the son. They are always having a barrier in their conversation. So now he's thinking, right, I think Mali is in a good mood. Now I have to ask this question from him. What is the question? We'll see. Do they write all their stories with this machine in America? He asked, as if he wished to fill a lacuna in his knowledge of that land and its civilization. Lacuna means a turning point. He wanted to have a new knowledge about that. So he's asking, this poor father is asking from his son, okay, you mean that this machine is doing a very great job. So can I know, like in America, is everyone printing their books using this machine? That was his question. So let's see how Mali is replying. Mostly, said Mali. Most magazines, added Grace. Most magazines are nowadays switching over to the machine in their fiction departments. And out of the best sellers last year, at least 3 were a product. The proposition is that we get American collaboration worth $200,000 provided we find 51,000 to start the business. So you can see what a vast knowledge Grace and Mali, both of them, are having about the business. Because you should understand, as an Indian, as a philosopher of Gandhi, Jagan is living in a very far behind era. Still, he's sitting in that sweetmeat shop and he's talking about Gandhian philosophies and the things in the Bhagavad Gita and the way of living. But his son Mali and his daughter-in-law Grace, they are talking about the advanced world. They are talking about business matters, and they are talking about how much they have to spend, how much their income is. So these things are something very new to Jagan. $51,000 would be the equivalent of, and he just continued. What is he thinking? My God, $51,000 means? And he was thinking, he was brooding. Began Jagan, starting the age-old calculation. Now you have to understand why R.K. Narayan has used the word age-old calculation. Because he's starting to calculate maybe in another method, that some Vedic methods, right? But there are but exchange rates now. He doesn't have any idea about that. Jagan doesn't have any idea about that. Work it out yourself, said Mali with a touch of irritation in his voice. Mali understood, oh my God, this old man is going to calculate that. He felt like that. And he talked in an irritating voice. Okay, you work it out later in yourself, like that. Let me finish my sentence. They will be responsible for the know-how and technical personnel, help set up the plant, run it for 6 months, and then quiet. They will also provide us with promotional material. Now he's telling about the administration who are helping them to do this printing stuff. When a lot of new expression the boy had learned, Jagan reflected with admiration. Now see, Jagan felt so proud of his son once again when he started explaining all these business matters in detail to him. Because earlier there was no good time that Mali talked with Jagan. As a good son, he never spent time with his father. But here, at this moment, even to the business matter, at least we can tell, at least for a business matter, he talked with his father, something related to something. So this is a great consolation to Jagan. While Mali added, we shall have to collect $49,000 by public subscription, and then the controlling stock will be in our hands. Jagan had thought till then that his son was a moron. What is a moron? Moron means we call a stupid person. So until this situation come, until this point come, until this day come, he thought my son is a stupid. But see how nicely he's talking. how nicely he's explaining about certain things. So that was really a shocking thing for Jagan. Right. He looked for a brief second at Grace and asked. Now Jagan is looking at Grace and asking. Now each and every portion of this chapter, you should have the imagination. Your mind should not go out of the story, right? Because this is your novel. This is the novel that you are getting for your exam as well. So make sure you are having the concentration and you imagine each and every section of this part. Now, Jagan is looking at Grace and asking, what was your subject in college? Right. She answered, I have told you, I post-graduated in domestic science at Michigan. So this was like already introduced, right? Grace already told about her education, where she lived, who is her father, who is her mother, everything she explained on the day she came. But that day, little Jagan was a little nervous. So maybe he has forgotten, or maybe because he is aged, he was not able to grab everything, right? Okay, now Grace says, I studied domestic science at Michigan. Why go into all that now? Asked Mali. So Mali was like, what? What are you asking her? Now, why do you want what she learned? That was Mali's question. Jagan said, rising. I was wondering if Grace had also studied business subject. And now it was Mali's turn to wonder why his father said that. So now Mali was like, what is he talking? He wants Grace to do business subject, but why? That was Mali's question. He was wondering why did he all of a sudden talk about business matters, and he connected that with Grace. That was Jagan's Mali's question. But Jagan have asked that question with a reason. He may have thought, right, if this girl also had studied business stuff, that would be helpful for Mali's work. Like that only that poor father, he might have thought. Right. Jagan left without further comment at 4:30. Now, what did you understand? Jagan left means he went to the shop, right? Can you remember he took the keys and he stuck in the jibba, right? So after having a conversation, long conversation, now he's going back. At 4:30, when the cousin arrived. So 4:30 is a good time in this R.K. Narayan's Vendor of Sweet novel. 4:30 is a special time. Reason, you know that in the first chapter we learned that is the time cousin arrives to the shop. At 4:30, when the cousin arrived, he told him, okay, who is telling now? Jagan is going to have the conversation. Now he had a good lecture at home. Now he's coming and clearing the doubts from the cousin now. Have you any idea what $50,000 is in rupees? My God, all this time he might be wondering about $50,000 because he started his calculation at home and Mali told you go and calculate later, right? So he's asking cousin because cousin is a man of town and he knows everything. The cousin said, a little over 2 lakhs of rupees, right? Over 2 lakhs. How do you know? Jagan is asking her, how do you know? Right. Cousin says, oh, that's by a simple calculation. And also, I verified it yesterday when I met Dodaji, our banker, after I left Mali. So see, this cousin is a person who is connected, who is talking, who is having a relationship between most of the people. And he's having a good knowledge about all the things what's happening. Can you understand? So that is cousin's character. So cousin's character is, don't take it as a simple sub character, right? 2020, even the O-level papers, they asked the cousin's role. That was a essay question. So you have to understand briefly, very detailedly, you should understand each and every character. That's what I said. Don't go out of the scene. Be in the scene. Go to that place. Your imagination should be fixed in the Malgudi era, right? Okay. 2 lakhs, mused Jagan. Mused means like he was shocked. 2 lakhs? Where does one find it? My God, how can a person find 2 lakhs? So what the cousin said, in your bank book, said the cousin promptly in a jocular way, for a joke, for a hint. That's in your bank book, like that. Are people under the impression that I have amassed wealth? Who is asking this? Jagan. Jagan is asking the cousin, so that means you are telling people are thinking that I am a very wealthy person. Do they think that I am having lots of wealth and properties? Okay, yes, of course. Although everyone admires your simple living and high thinking habits. Yeah, you know that in chapter number 1 and 2, we learned that Jagan is a man of simple living. He's always loving the way to live in the way of Gandhi. That's why he doesn't hurt any animal to make his sandals. That's why he have only two sets of clothes, right? He doesn't want to waste anything and he doesn't want to have fancies. He didn't even repair his house that his father was living for 100 years. And you know that how Jagan is valuing the old things. He didn't even change the padlock in his shop. It's a century old. He didn't even change his old chair, which is also a century old. So he's a man of simple living. So Cousin is telling, you might be a simple living person. People also know that you are a very simple living person and you are having so much high thinking habits. But remember, people are also thinking that you are having a lots of wealth, right? How can wealth accumulate with the price of food stuff standing? Where is it? I just keep up the business so that these poor fellows may not be thrown out of the employment. That's all. So, see the thought of Jagan? What is he telling? No, no, I am not doing this business and all to earn money and be a rich man. I am doing this business because if I stop this business, my employers are having, they will become jobless. So, I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to make my employers jobless. They have come believing me. They have come trusting me. That is the thought of Jagan. Okay, that everybody knows, said the cousin. Are you interested in buying raisins? I saw a fresh stock arrive at the Sati's Said's shop, hand-picked quality. Okay, now this cousin I told you, he's a man of the town. He's going all around the town, 360 degrees. He's going and only coming. That's his character. So he's asking Jagan now. He's changing the subject and he's asking, okay, do you have raisins and all? Do you want them more? So raisins are stuffs that we use to make sweets and all. So he's saying, I saw in the sage shop that he had good quality one. Okay, have you asked the cook? He told me that he needed them because I found the Sohan papadi rather tame without the raisins today. Right, another point you should understand. You have to remember this. Cousin, when he come to the shop, the first thing what he does is directly going to the kitchen, eating the sweet items and tasting them. So he had tasted that the Sohan papadi. It is a little tame taste because maybe the raisins are finished. Right. Now Jagan gets furious about this. He was like, What are you talking? What the hell are you talking about my sweets, huh? Jagan cried furiously. Is that so? But why didn't he tell me? So Jagan is asking why this cook didn't inform me about that. He should have tell me I am the owner here, right? So he should have tell me that raisins are over. Right. Let's see what is the reply for that. Kazin said, you didn't come in time. That's all. And he couldn't wait for the stuff. Why do you get upset? Okay, now you can match the incident. At home, he got a little late. And I told you, these days, Jagan is getting a little late for the work. So the cook can't wait until that time. So what did he do? He might have informed the cousin because cousin is one of the closest person. Right? It's because I do not like the idea of cheating my customers. Do you realize that the price for the customer remains the same with or without raisins? So Jagan is too good, okay? Jagan is too good and he's telling, I don't want to cheat my customers. If you put raisins or didn't put raisins, I'll give the same price. Right. And your own margin of profit is improved, said the cousin. Jagan glared at him. The cousin added, you are a rare being. But that would be the line of thought of some of your compatriots in this city. Okay. Now, cousin is telling Jagan, I know you're a good person. You are very honest. You're very kind. But there is a limit for everything. If you be this honest, what will happen? Your compatriots, your competitors, your business competitors, what will they do? They will go over you. Okay? Mollified Jagan said with a touch of pride. Okay, so Jagan, who heard this, he said, I was held up by Mali, poor boy. I have to give him the time he needs now and then. Otherwise, there is a bound to be a lot of misunderstanding. His ideas turn on big figures nowadays. He seems to have learned many things in America. Okay, right. Now see, mollified, and Jagan said. So mollified means if a person, getting so a little angry in a very anger way, he said, okay, wait, I have done everything to my son Mali, and I'm really proud of him today. He has learned a lot. He has become a big man. He have learned many things in America. So now Jagan understands about his responsibilities, right? So he understands that he has brought up his son for a good position. He wants me to use my influence to sell the shares of the company. My goodness, that word, what Mali told you, can you remember? Mali told, you keep the business away and join our business. So that word was kind of a treasure to Jagan now. He's telling cousin, my son wants my influence to sell the shares of the company. So he feels proud of that. This was a relief to Jagan. I am sure many people will be interested in this proposal, including your good self. No harm in finding 5 or 10 along with the rest. Mali's idea is different. He has reserved 5 or 10 for people outside and counts on you for the $51,000 for a start. And you have found its rupee equivalent, about 2.5 lakhs. Where does one find it? I have already indicated. Does Mali think so? Of course. And he also says he knows where you keep cash not sent to the bank, right? So Mali has been collecting some money, and sorry, Jagan has been collecting some money, and Mali knows where his father keep money other than the amount that he deposits in the bank. He says so, does he? Said Jagan, laughing within himself at the fact that he had changed the venue of the immaculate cash. Right. So Jagan is telling, my goodness, my son knows that where I have hide the money. And he was laughing inside. Why? Already he have changed the place where he kept. Money is an evil, he added with great feelings. So what does that mean? Money is an evil. It means money changes the people. Money changes the characters of the people, the role of the people. So Jagan has hid the money in a separate place, because you also know that how Mali is interested in money matters, because he need money for his business stuff and all. So sometimes he doesn't ask his father, he takes the money. So Jagan have been a little cunning and he have hid the money in some other place. The cousin said, shall I ask the front stall boy to throw away the bronze jug? Okay. What is in the bronze jug? The extra collection. If you remember chapter number 1 and 2, we discussed that after 6 o'clock, the money collected. So that is not coming to the income tax and stuff, right? So that money is there in the bronze jug. So cousin is now just cracking jokes with him and saying, shall I ask that boy to throw that away? They both laughed at the joke. But the relaxation was short-lived for Jagan. He became very serious suddenly and said, I hope you will find an occasion to tell my son that I have not got all that money. He seriously started to speak and say, he said, and please tell my son, I don't have that money. Now you both are speaking terms, so why don't you tell him? Right. Before I start the session today, I told you that father and the son are having some better conversation these days rather than the earlier days. So earlier when Jagan wants to tell something to his son, he said it through cousin. So now the cousin is telling, but nowadays you all are talking good, right? So you all are good, like, having good conversation. So you can tell him no, right? Jagan sighed and said, I do not wish to spoil his mood. See, again, he is a coward father. This is really a very common question in your model papers. Prove that Jagan is a cowardly father. He's a very scared father. He doesn't want to go in front of Mali and talk to him. He's really scared that he will get angry, his mood will get upset and all. So now also he's telling, I don't want to spoil his mood. Right. So this father is again backward. Right. The tempo of Mali's demand increased. Tempo of Mali's demand means, right, the rate he's doing the business now is increased. Though at one time Jagan had sighed for a word from his son, now wished that the though had not occurred. So now he's reminding of the earlier days also, how Mali used to react when Jagan goes there, right? But now, since the business matters are also increased, since his workload is also increased, he doesn't want to go and worry him. He doesn't want to go and spoil his mood and disturb him, because you know that in chapter 6 we learned, right, in session 1 we discussed how Mali is busy. Some days Jagan has to wait outside like a client, and after the bell only he has to come inside, right? He was being hunted. When he passed in and out of the house, he felt his steps were being watched, his face being secretly studied for a yes or no. Grace gazed at his face meaningfully. Mali, if he was at home, kept on coming into his quarters on some excuse or other. After the first day's demonstration, Jagan has studiously avoided all literary topics. Here is a scheme to make me bankrupt, he said to himself whenever he heard footfalls approaching his room. $51,000. I am not growing over fond of money, but I am not prepared to squander it. Why should we want stories or machines for writing them? So Jagan is now worrying how to earn this lot of money. And I'm not making money, right? I have little money only. And both of them are always discussing about business matters. They approach towards me also. They're asking me to join their business. And he's scared that one day whether Jagan will be bankrupt. He will get a loss. He's afraid now. One morning, Mali stood at the doorway of the puja room after breakfast in blue pants with his hands resting on top of the threshold as Jagan sat before his gods. Right now, you have to imagine R.K. Narayan has given the color, the way, the gestures, and everything. So you can imagine how Mali is standing wearing blue pants. Here, the word blue pants is emphasizing about the European habits. With his hands resting on top of the threshold as Jagan sat before his gods. That means Jagan is now performing the prayers and Mali is behind. They do everything with the machines nowadays. Washing machines. Have you seen one? Okay, now this coming son is approaching to a stuff that asking for money. He's asking, telling his father, okay, nowadays everything is done by machines. Haven't you heard about washing machine? Have you seen one like that? He's asking in a mocking way. No, said Jagan, trying to cut all mechanical references to a minimum. Now Jagan understood son is coming to this matter only. He understood and he just thought to stop the conversation. He thought, no, I haven't seen. That's all. Okay. Grinding, powdering, calculating. Nowadays, one uses electricity for everything. Behind him stood Grace, adding, even for mending pencils, we have machines. Now see, both son and daughter-in-law are adding words to father. They're telling, okay, now what is everything is machines, each and everything. Likewise, we should have brought one with us, Mali said, turning to her. Now Mali is turning to her side and saying, I think we also should have brought one. Mali, who never used to seek him before, was now intruding even into the privacy of his puja room, interrupting his prayers. Now, you know that earlier, this Mali's character, we know, he's not at all talking to father. He doesn't want him at all. Just for the title only, we call him father and son. But now, he's always behind Jagan and asking this and that for money, right? And now, only the place that Jagan had some peace was the puja room. But now, what has happened? Even there, Mali is coming and interrupting him. Jagan met the disturbance passively by shutting his eyes and muttering some incantations until Grace said, "We should not disturb his prayers." Prayer was a sound way of isolating oneself, but sooner or later it ended. Right? Now, see, respecting for the prayer, one of the Hindu cultures. And you know, Jagan is definitely. One could not go on praying eternally, though one ought to. Okay, though one think, okay, I have to be so religious, I have to be praying 24 hours, but never, you can't do that. They have to come out, they have to end it. So Mali thought, okay, right, let's let him to pray. Once he come out, anyway, he has to come out. Once he come out, let's discuss. He had become rather sneaky nowadays. Soon after his prayers, he tiptoed to the kitchen to prepare his salt-free food. Okay, now salt-free food is nothing new. You know that. What are the habits of Jagan? He's always consuming some healthy food and he's having a different menu to him. So now, to avoid people, what did Jagan do? He quickly hurried to the kitchen and he started to prepare his salt-free food. Okay, bolt it down, put on his kadijibba, slip away with the least noise, but he always found Grace at the passage, ready to open the door for him with some remark about the weather or politics, gazing on his face with an unmistakable inquiry about his views on the machine. Right now, Jagan thought, my goodness, before they start the conversation about money matters, I should escape from this place. And he slowly went out. But what to do? We can't go from anywhere else other than the main door. So Grace was actually standing there, right? She always used to talk something when going. That's what I told you. Sometimes he gets late to go to the shop because he's having the conversation with Grace. As ever, he had two opposite feelings: appreciation of her interest in Mali and resentment at her effort to involve him in their business. Now, whenever Grace talks, Jagan feels, is this girl talking to me, keeping an interest on Mali? And is she trying to impress me as an uncle for her? Or else is she trying to drag me to her side for their business? Mali never thrust himself forward more than a minimum. He seemed to have left the task to Grace, but Mali is not like that. He will give a certain force of discussing about these money matters and business matters, but he doesn't go too much, right? That's what they say. Mali never thrust himself. That means never force. Much force is not given. That responsibility is given to Grace. Grace is the person who is doing that. Even his visitation at the threshold of the puja room in the morning seemed to have been dictated by Grace. Even that morning time when Mali came to discuss money matters about with Jagan, Grace was behind. So you notice that Grace was behind. That means, children, we can guess one thing. So there's a big question in this novel, that is Grace a good girl or a bad girl? Is she really a good daughter-in-law, or is she money motivated? Why has she come to India? Right? Everything is a question. So maybe both of them are trying to take the property, or both of them are really being honest to do a business. That's really a question. Because Jagan is honestly is trusting Grace. An occasional misgiving tainted Jagan's thoughts. Might not Grace's interest, friendliness, and attentiveness be a calculated effort to win his dollars? Now he is thinking, are they doing all these efforts and are they being so much friendly with me? Are they conversing with me very nicely? Is it all because that they are going to take my money and my property? That is a doubt for Jagan. Walk into his shop with the head lowered in the thought, as the vagrant at the statue corner greeted him and begged for money. Jagan paused to ask for the 100th time in a year, "You are sturdy. Why don't you seek work?" My God, now this line is proving you, though Jagan has millions of problems in his head, he's still worried about his mother country. Because this is not the first time we are meeting this line. Most of the chapters he's talking about the vagrants. He's so much worried about the vagrants of the Indian society. Now see, when he's leaving the house, he was not that happy. He lowered his head and he vowed. Why? His mind is now thinking, what is this going on at home? Are they really showing me a love, or they are loving my property and my wealth? That is a question. And not only that, whenever Jagan passes the street, he sees the vagrant. So vagrant greets and asks for money. So whenever that happens, Jagan used to, tell, "Oh my God, these vagrants are not going. When will this problem over? When will Indian government take action?" Like that, he's always uh, brooding about those stuff. So every day he used to ask the vagrant, "You are healthy, you can walk, you can whatever, you can healthy, right? You can do something and earn some money." That's how he is advising the vagrant. So today also he's telling for the 100th time in a year. So RK Narayan is telling you this because many times he has been worried for this Indian society, the situation, the economic level. He doesn't want anyone to see anyone begging. He doesn't want to see anyone begging and having a healthy body. That's why he is doing this sweet meat shop also, because he want people to be employed. So he's again asking the vagrant, right? "You are healthy, so why are you begging? You can go and do a work." "When have I the time, master? By the time I have gone round begging and returned here, day is over." So see how funny answer he gave. "Oh, what are you talking, master? What are you telling? I'm a very busy man, okay? I'm going all around, and when I'm coming back again, the whole day is over." So what is he going? Where is he going all around? That is for begging. So that stupid man didn't understand. Jagan told, "Stop begging and start a work." But that vagrant is thinking begging is almost a work. Okay. Jagan tossed a 5 paise coin at him as he remembered an ancient injunction: "Perform thy charity without question." Now look at, when Jagan saw the vagrant, he thought, okay, fine, no point talking to this person. What should I do? I have to complete my responsibility. I'll give you money. Okay, take this 5 paise. And he said the injunction, a statement. What is a statement? Perform your charity without any question. If somebody come to you asking for something, without any question, do your charity. In appreciation, the beggar said, "Master does not tell me much about America nowadays." Why? Okay, this is a good point. Because earlier, when Jagan went to America, when Mali went to America, what did Jagan do? He was boasting to everyone about his Mali, about his son, about how America looks like, because he got to know those things from the letters what Mali wrote to him. So always he used to stop every person and talk about that. Even to the vagrant, he goes and tell, tall buildings are there, huge vehicles are there, likewise, lots of things he told. So now the vagrant is asking, "Nowadays you are not telling to me much. Why is that?" So now he says, "Because I have told you all you should know." "What's the little master doing?" asked the beggar. Now the little master is not anyone else. That is Mali. Right? What's the little master doing? "Well, he'll be starting a factory soon," replied Jagan, without a conviction. "What will he make?" "Some machinery," Jagan said. Now this vagrant wants all the things. Not wishing to elaborate and wishing the beggar would leave him alone. So Jagan was like, okay, that's enough. Now you asked me lots of questions, and he doesn't want to converse anymore. And he thought to leave that place. Fortunately, he slipped off to pester some other person coming in the opposite direction. And Jagan quickened his pace. Passing the truth printing, he spied Nataraj alone at his desk and on an impulse stopped to ask, I hope you have not forgotten my work. Okay, what did he say? Right, he's telling. Now, Natraj is a common person you should know. In chapter number 2, we learned about him. 1 or 2, yeah. He had given the printing to Natraj, but he has not still done, right? So he's always reminding, Natraj, can you remember my work? Do it fast, likewise. How could I? Said Natraj. As soon as the pressure of the seasonal printing lessens. So this Natraj is also very cunning. Jagan had given the work long time before, right? But this person, he's telling, I have this work, I have that work, and he's postponing Jagan's work. Yours will be the first. I am your family printer, you know. Your son has given me an urgent work, which he wants in 3 days. The prospectus for his new enterprise. So now he's mentioning about the improvement that the next step Mali has taken. So maybe that Jagan might not know about this, because you know that sometimes in some cases Mali doesn't share certain things with Jagan. Ah, cried Jagan. The scheme seemed to dog his steps. Your name is in it, said Natraj. Ah, exclaimed Jagan. He was like shocked. What? My name? My name in my son's scheme? That's really shocking. Natraj pushed up his roll top and produced a proof sheet, and Jagan saw his name in print as one of the principal promoters of Mali Enterprises. Now this step might be a cunning step also. We don't know. Maybe he really loves his father and he had put his name. Or maybe it's a plan. Maybe it's a plan that Mali had told Natraj, you show this to my father, so then he will be little impressed about that, then I can get the money. That can be one way. Or else, maybe it's really for the truth Mali has entered his name. Right. Now, what is the title given to Jagan? One of the principal promoter of Mali Enterprises. The others in the list were Grace and a few of Mali's scooter riding friends. So about Mali's scooter riding friends we discussed in chapter 5. Natraj studied his face and said, why, aren't you pleased? Jagan replied in a hollow tone, yes, no doubt. Seems to be an interesting new kind of enterprise. Yes, no doubt. Now see, Jagan is speechless. He doesn't know what to say because he saw for the first time his son is appreciating him, and not only in which one, in his business. That is the most highlighting part. Jagan is mentioned in Mali's business matters. So that's actually a big wonder to this father. He hurriedly left for his shop. As the cook stood before him, taking instructions for the day, he feared he too might begin to speak of the story writing machine. But luckily, this man's universe of kitchen smoke and frying oil had not lost in celerity yet. Okay, now actually saying means Jagan is now fed up talking about America and printing machine. So you know that when he came to the shop also, the background was talking, right? So he's scared that maybe the cook is also coming in front of me to ask about America and this printing machine. But luckily, the cook was not that crazy. He was also like, he had a different world. Kitchen is his world, and he came to just get collected the items for the day. Occupying his throne with the scent of incense and frying, Jagan recovered a little bit of his sense of security. He opened the drawer and let his eyes rest on the copy of Bhagavad Gita for a while. Now, always you should remember, Jagan is reading the Bhagavad Gita whenever he is confused, when he feels not relaxed and all. So that means this situation also maybe he's confused. Maybe the confusion is why Mali wrote my name in his print. Why does he want to include my name in his business, right? Opened a page at random and tried to get absorbed into the eternal message. But part of his mind was deeply injured by the sight of his own name in print of the prospectus. Yes, I told you. He tried to get connected with the Bhagavad Gita. He tried to read it by understanding. But what happened? Half of his mind is now running about that prospectus. Why did this man mention my name? He's not that loving me also. What is the reason? Right now he's thinking, how could Mali perpetrate such a deed? Take so much good for granted. But the poor boy probably had complete confidence in his father's support. Now he is thinking in a positive way. Okay, that means he's having a good trust in myself. He's believing that I will support his business. And there was nothing heinous in that. It was natural. And he's telling, I don't think nothing tricky is there. I don't think nothing, no other plans are there behind that. I think it's a natural feelings that came to him. Still, he should at least have had the courtesy to mention it to him. Neither Grace nor Mali. Now he's thinking, but they could have tell me. At least Grace or Mali, somebody should have mentioned that they are including my name. But there's another point. Maybe Mali and Grace have already told about this matter. Because if you had read the chapter clearly, you know that in the first part, they are having a discussion in the hall about this business stuff and all. But do you remember, Jagan was out of world. He was always looking at Mali, the way he's dressed, his gestures, the way he talks, everything. He was like, blindly looking at that. So he did not hear any words, what Mali was telling. So we can guess two things. Maybe Mali has already told him at that point, and Jagan has not grasped it properly. Or we can tell Mali has not mentioned anything to Jagan. Okay, but perhaps they had only been hanging about his puja room to inform him of that rather than ask for a capital. And he blamed himself for not giving them a chance. Right now, Jagan is telling, oh, maybe that they came near the puja room to ask about the capital matter, or did they come to tell me about this? And I am the foolish man. I did not give them any chance to talk about this also. And now he's blaming to himself regarding this. Okay, so for this session, let's stop from that point, right? So you have to read up to that point and get ready before you join to the next session.